Hello, you are listening to the OmniTalk Fast 5, brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, Trigo, Sezzle, and Silk. Headline number 3 is that Rent the Runway has opened an online storefront on Amazon. So according to Retail Dive, Amazon customers can purchase items from Rent the Runway's designer exclusive, as well as secondhand garments retired from its rental service. The move comes after Rent the Runway laid off about a quarter of its workforce in September and announced a new focus on profitability, which is, I'm sorry, I have to stop.
You have to pause here for a second, don't you?
We were reading this story yesterday in the airport, Chris. We were prepping for the show, and I was like, I'm sorry. Wait, now the new focus after you've been a company around for how many years? Like 2023, let's be profitable. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, Michael, I'm going to go into a major diatribe if I don't go to you next. So, Michael, what are your thoughts here?
That's all right. I might go into the same diatribe, so cut me off if I go too deep. This answer is so complex, it's incredible. I mean, look, Real, Rent the Runway, even Stitch Fix, they came onto the scene and they were basically the brightest stars that the retail business has seen in years. Yeah. And I'm saying that with quotations around that. That was the perception in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. However, their performance has been an absolute disaster when you look at it. You look at the stock price of Real. I mean, that's the perfect one. And I know we're talking about Rent the Runway and Amazon, but it was an interesting concept. Renting product or reselling product. Interesting from an ESG benefit standpoint. However, it's really not been successful, and no one can really figure out from an operating standpoint how to run it. And if you look behind the curtain and you start understanding the technology complexities, the SKU complexity, and the operational complexities that exist, it becomes sort of this question mark of, can anybody ever really be successful with it? Mm-hmm. Now, what's been happening, I think Amazon dipping its toe or actually jumping into this market is fascinating. Mm-hmm. When they did the partnership with What Goes Around Comes Around, I thought that was a monumental marker, as Jonathan was mentioning before. I also think this is interesting because Amazon basically now sees it as an opportunity to capture front-end business that they cannot do on their own, especially with What Goes Around Comes Around. Mm-hmm. However, they are an absolute gorilla in the marketplace operationally behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden now, do these partnerships with the front end being Rent the Runway and What Goes Around Comes Around, and I'm sure they're going to do more, plugged into the Amazon machine, start to turn it into a profitable entity? It might, but at the same time, it might not. As we were talking about before with Amazon, clearly they're not super focused on profit. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. But in a very long-winded way, I love the move by Amazon. I think Rent the Runway and What Goes Around Turns Around, What Goes Around Comes Around, should actually be worried about the partnership in the future of their own longevities.
Interesting.
Chris, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, wow. Going to me next. Well, I mean, Michael kind of summed it up pretty well there. I mean, for me, I don't really get the move on Rent the Runway's part, honestly. I wonder if they're going to piss off the brands they're working with, if you're going to start selling them on Amazon's like hunt, seek, and destroy search, online experience too. Like no brand that they work with that's high end is going to want to be on that experience.
Right.
So I question the value of it. So ultimately, to me, going back to your point about the new focus on profitability, it honestly seems super desperate. Mm-hmm. I think we might have had Jonathan on the show too. I can't remember if or somebody from A&M, we were talking about Gap going on. I think this is totally different, and that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, Jonathan, what are your thoughts here? You're nodding along.
Well, I think this is a bit of a sort of mini trend, isn't it? Which is retail innovation, which sort of bursts bright, but then struggles for distribution or struggles for customer acquisition, goes and clings to the Amazon life raft. Mm-hmm. And in a way, it's extremely smart of Amazon, right? Because they basically bolster out the Amazon offering, picking up segment after segment after segment. And to our earlier discussion about the value of Prime, value of Prime is, what, apart from Thursday Night Football, the value of Prime is as many of your needs fulfilled in one place. Mm-hmm. And this is just another example of it. But there's a huge asymmetry of power here, right? You've got a struggling innovation,
right?
You've got an acquisition and distribution monster.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think what we're hearing here, and this kind of echoes my sentiments about this too, is that, it makes sense to try to leverage the operational backbone of Amazon to make this business more profitable. You're certainly opening the aperture here of people who can find Rent the Runway product, who can leverage their Prime benefits in order to get that product sooner. But my question here, and another part that we haven't discussed in this conversation so far, is that Amazon keeps talking about how they're really trying to get this to get luxury to take off on Amazon. And I still think, I don't know that this is where Amazon, like, this doesn't help Amazon get more people shopping luxury on the platform. I just don't
100%.
see it. You're just not going to see people, going to Amazon and typing Diane von Furstenberg. Like, that's just not going to happen. The only way, and this is a long shot, Chris and I talked about this in depth yesterday, but the only way I can start to see like a luxury consumer really going to Amazon in this capacity might be if they start to bring that secondhand or pre-worn apparel, designer and luxury apparel from Rent the Runway into Amazon's fashion stores, and really having that be a destination instead of the typical consignment shops that, we have no idea what's in there. It's always a treasure hunt when you get in there. But if you could, know with certainty, there are 6 different gowns in my size at my local Amazon fashion, and I can go there and execute and try something on and then walk away with something instead of, ordering 2 things from Rent the Runway. There's a possibility there, but the amount of struggle and work to actually make that happen here is, I think, a long haul for Amazon. So I don't know that we'll actually see that happening.
Right. I mean, I think there could be a there, but it gets back to the point of Michael said too, like, can you make the current model work? And then if you do that, does that become even more difficult as well?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Ann, let's keep on rolling.
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, Ann, you just made me think of this. If you look at the what goes around comes around partnership,
right
there, and you think, it made me think of The House of Gucci, the movie.
Yeah.
When Al Pacino's character, there was a dirty little secret that most of the Gucci business in the US was counterfeit, but they knew it and they were happy with it. So the question I ask is this a way for the luxury brands to basically start to grow their businesses with a dirty little secret kind of under the covers of doing the business? Now there's a third party in between, but it's still more revenue. So it'll be very interesting too, to see if they eventually get over the Amazon hump and plug into it.
Ooh.
Could be, may not be, but we'll see.
That's a good little twist. I like that, Michael.